and welcome to the first debut of the Rockin House.
This will be a forum for local musicians to talk music.
And our first guest today is Augunas from Free Delivery Hit the Ground Running fame. Okay, let's bring our first guest on the show today for our debut of the Rockin House, Augunas. Welcome to the show, brother.
All right, guys. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you
Alan,
guys very much.
Today. Yeah.
Pleasure to be here for the first debut show of the
Rockin House.
Okay, and over in the corner near Markey there is a 1988 Sabre Ibanez Custom, which was used on all Alan's Hit the Ground records. So we're going to talk about that eventually too.
All right, Alice, let's talk about this guitar a little bit later. But right now, I want to first ask you about how you became a member of Hit the Ground Running.
Oh, Mark.
How'd it start?
Back in high school where I met the original founding member of Free Delivery, which is Paul Picari. I was fortunate enough to meet him in high school, and he was one of my idols. As many guitar players and musicians back then, he was the go-to guy in O'Hara.
Nice.
He had his own studio in Broomall, PA, which was a blessing. And years later, after I graduated, somehow we got together and Free Delivery was formed. And then shortly through a few years with that project, Free Delivery became Hit the Ground Running. And this is one of the guitars that I used for the first 2 albums with Hit the Ground Running, and I use this on all my tours with Hit the Ground Running. And it's been with me since 1989. It's over 30 years old now, and it's one of the most amazing guitars I've ever purchased or was lucky enough to play.
Awesome.
So that's a little bit of history about that.
And most people know Rock Dude. I'm a equipment junkie of sorts, and that's an '88 Sabre, which the famous guitarist Frank Cavalli was first. Well, he actually had the first issue because he was already on the label and playing Ibanez guitars. So he had a Sabre that was in the yellow, and if you see Frank Cavalli's, who was famous for playing with Chick Corea in his electric and acoustic bands, and tremendously gifted jazz guitar player, and in the early days Frank Cavalli was more like a Steve Vai. So he had one, so and there shortly after Alan has a first generation Sabre. So how cool was that?
Very awesome. All right, let's talk about if you were to pick one of your performances that you felt was most memorable. Which would you have to say if you had to pick one?
Well, Marky, believe me, we had quite a few memorable shows.
Sure.
With Free Delivery and Hit the Ground Running, but probably the most memorable for me was when we were invited to play the 1989 second Monterey Pop Festival in California.
Awesome.
We were the only East Coast band to be invited to
really?
Play. Yep.
That's great.
A big deal.
That's some big stuff, yeah.
So that night we played with different artists from Jeff Healey to Starship to Randy Hansen. There's quite a few more that I can't remember.
Wow, with some names on there.
But yeah, that was probably my most memorable show. Was the second Monterey Pop Festival.
What do you got there?
Oh, actually, I got this little piece of paper here somebody gave me. I believe that this is the actual invitation in June 6th of 1989 to Hit the Ground Running to perform at this festival. Alan,
wow, look at that.
I want to let
That's
you
a piece of history,
hold that piece of history there and give a little explanation to our viewers.
Well, I mean, guys, this serves as a formal invitation to Hit the Ground Running, being asked to perform at the second Monterey Pop Festival, which was 1989.
Nice.
It was just an amazing experience. First time I was ever in California.
Okay.
We visited Carmel, we visited Monterey, and we visited the Pebble Beach area.
Okay.
And we were out there for a few days.
Do any golfing?
No. Anyway, a lot of drinking, a lot of smoking, but other than that, it was good. But it was just a great event. It was outside. Nobody knew who the hell we were, and we kicked some ass. And it is on video somewhere. It's out there, but it's hard to find, but it's there. And it was a great show. It was one of my most memorable experiences.
That's awesome.
Thank you for that.
That's some awesome stuff there, guys. Well, we're going to have Rock Dude here talk a little bit about the history on this beautiful shredder guitar right here by Ibanez. And Alan's going to give us a little insight about his performance with playing this particular guitar.
Well, I mentioned it was Frank Cavalli who was the high-profile musician who first had one in '88. What I like about it is it's the only model he made in a thin body like that, and it has an ultimate Ibanez neck, particularly if you want to shred on the guitar. So if you're a fast player, it's very good that way. And Alan explained to me, he said that what he likes too is the fact that it's one of the best necks that they ever put on an Ibanez, and it has the beautiful shark's tooth inlay. And it's just a great guitar, and you might say that the one of the better guitars in the factory was in '89 they actually came out with, Steve Vais came out with his signature model, the Gem, with his grip handle. But for me, if I had to go between the both guitars, I really like how Sabres roll, man. I think they're, in my opinion, the best guitar that the factory's come up with, especially if you're in the metal or hard rock. So take it away, Alan.
Well, Brian, the funny thing is with this guitar is I did purchase it in February of 1989 from George's Music in Springfield, Pennsylvania. They originally opened in '87 of the 1980s in Springfield. A bunch of my friends worked there, from Donald Syracuse to Pete Karras till I think Jeff LaBar even had a short stint there. I'm sure many other local guitar players who are still out there today work there. I just can't remember everyone's names. I apologize, but I just happened to walk in one day. I had no idea that when I walked into that store, that when I first saw this guitar, I was like, wow. I mean, I was never privy to a guitar or a color like this.
For them to see it.
I was never, I just was like, I looked at this thing, it was hanging up, and I was like, wow, what is that?
What I would say, Alan, is you probably didn't realize the magnitude of what you really had, and after all these years, what a valuable guitar in Ibanez, the factory, it became.
I mean,
it's legendary,
I was
really.
only 24 when I bought the guitar. I just like the color of it. Basically, the color got me, and the thin.
And
the
like
neck,
I say, you're only
the neck was
talking the
beautiful.
thin bodies like that. That's amazing.
Yeah, I used to have a waist thinner than that, but if you can imagine that. But anyway, so
Oh, man.
I walked in and I saw this guitar sitting up there, and I went to my buddy Pete, who used to work there. He was a guy from my neighborhood in Drexel Hill. And I said, Pete, what is this guitar? I said, this is beautiful. What is this? And he goes, oh, this is an Ibanez Sabre custom that somebody, as I remember, somebody ordered this guitar and never picked it up. So
Good for you.
They wanted to get rid of it. So I walked in that day, fateful day in February. I looked at it and I was just like, wow. It just spoke to me, So I talked to him after a couple little haggle hours and things and days went by. I said, I want this guitar, and we agreed to a price, and I found the original receipt.
Wow.
That's what I say, from 1989,
Look at this,
guys.
the original receipt of the guitar.
Original receipt from George's Music. Now,
Can't even read it.
granted, the printing and the ink is basically pretty much faded, but if you
But
do
what I
look
would
at
say, Alan, a guy who has that receipt also takes good care of his stuff.
Well,
it goes hand in hand.
It goes hand in hand, my friend. So I actually did not remember. I thought I bought the guitar in '88. Found the receipt. I actually bought it February 23rd of '89, and I bought it from my friend Pete Karras. And here's his name, Pete, right there. You can barely read it. And I looked over at the price, and he sold it to me for $666.
And I would say the important notation,
Right
Alan,
there, it's all written in black and white, guys.
Now-
Pink and black.
what you're going to tell the audience
Wow.
today, that's all original sitting
Oh,
there.
yes, this guitar was never
Messed with.
Never messed with.
Wow, it's all the
I
original.
honestly think I maybe it's over 30 years old now, guys. I know it was made in 1988. I've owned it since '89, so now it's 21 years old to me. This guitar has maybe been set up 2, maybe 3 times in 30 years.
Original frets.
Original everything.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Most amazing guitar ever. Still holds up. Never goes out of tune. Best Floyd Rose like I said, used it on both
And
albums.
it just has a
on tours.
ton of real deal history. Yeah.
It just kills, man. So there you have
still
it.
got something
And
going
that was with my
there.
fingernail, no pick. So yeah, this is my baby, and I have lent this guitar to my best buddy here, Marky Z, for some of his original recordings, which are awesome. So
And I have to say, this guitar rocks, man.
it does
I love
rock,
this thing.
man. It's
And
had
it's-
a couple nicks, and I've dropped it a couple times. Paul Picari has nicked it a couple times, throwing things at me. Hence, that's where he got the name Chip from. So yeah, this
It's
is
got
amazing.
a sleek back neck that you could fly on this thing. It's freaking feels so good in your hands, man.
It's awesome, man.
It is
It's
an
my
awesome
baby.
guitar, I
It's
have
one of
to
my
say.
original.
And you have
I even recorded our theme music to this show with this guitar.
There you have it. Thank you, sir.
That's
you
right.
have off and on had tried to revise the band and had different players in it a bit over the time.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't the only guitar. I was the first guitar player for most of the, the important years, and then I left after a little while, and the other guys came in, and then we had a reunion back in the 2008 area, and it's just a tough band to copy when you don't have all the original members.
you had a Vinnie
And-
Martell in it, right? And you had
Vinnie
Adam
Martelli,
Crowley always did some drums
this
a
guy
bit.
Bob Cherry replaced me on guitar. Yeah, a lot of different members. All good though. Everybody's just awesome.
But you've been hoping in recent years to get a full original band reunion, which everybody would hope would
We
happen.
tried it. We tried. It's just
Nothing, huh?
difficult to do. Everybody's
try
got
to
their
get
own
everybody
lives
together.
these days. But hey, you know what? Why try to change something that was perfect back then? We just leave it at that.
So let me ask you this in closing today, in a few minutes here on the show. Is there anything in the future for you with playing music? Are you guys
Yeah,
new that you're working on? Any new bands?
I'm playing with a bunch of friends. I enjoy playing with everybody. I don't care. I like rock, blues,
Okay.
jazz,
Versatile
reggae, everything.
musician.
I like every genre. I did what I did when I was younger. I'm just trying to, keep things positive as we get older.
Right.
In this ever for changing world of music we're into anymore, which is nothing like when we grew up. Nothing. So.
No.
But other than that, everything's positive, and there's a lot of great players. I've got a lot of great friends out there, and there's always something you can do. You just
And
gotta
the one
keep at
person
it.
you heavily mentioned, and we're all friends with him, or at least you would know about him, is Paul Picari. He's an interesting character.
Yes.
Oh,
And at
yes.
least the Delco whole music scene.
That's true.
He's constantly reinventing himself. He likes to keep busy. He has his ELO band,
Yeah.
Land of Oz.
his Land of Oz, which is the second to none Ozzy Osbourne tribute
Play the
band.
Crystal Rocks.
Crystal Rocks, keep going. It's a slaying
Numerous-
I even
style.
had Paul help me in my band Audacity back in 2009.
yeah, Paul. He's like the Davy Crockett of
Yeah.
Delaware County. He's the pioneer.
Great guy, man. Great
So-
musician.
Yeah,
And
awesome.
at times he doesn't
Starting
even
to get
say
the
much. He
let
just
out.
lays back and takes it all in. Right, that's the way he is.
Hey,
Yeah.
that's what geniuses do, man.
But yeah,
Don't
if you want to
say
see
a
some
lot.
good ELO, that's his latest project, and they're very good. If you want to hear
No,
Jeff
no.
Lynne material on ELO, like the 70s, they're all about it, so I would highly endorse going to see Paul Picari ELO group. So they're around. Once we get over the pandemic, we'll be back to normal, and we'll be rocking and seeing our favorite bands. And
I'm
doing-
out playing again. I miss all my friends and my fellow guitarists. Crown and Bird.
and our most popular stomping ground is the Tom and Jerry's, and that's got to get back open.
Yeah.
Or we'll just go down and rip the doors open, man.
Ah!
Well, guys, thank you for having me here on the debut show of
Thank you